If you've ever been told you need to get out more, or felt subtly judged for preferring your home over parties, you've probably asked yourself at some point, what's wrong with me? In a world that glorifies constant movement, loud rooms, and social validation, choosing to stay in can feel like failure. But what if the desire to be home isn't weakness at all? What if it's awareness? What if the people who love staying at home aren't missing life, but regulating it better than most?
We live in a chronically overstimulated environment. Notifications never stop. Conversations overlap. Expectations pile up. For many nervous systems, especially those shaped by trauma, ADHD, high sensitivity, or long-term stress, the outside world doesn't feel exciting. It feels demanding. Every interaction requires micro-adjustments. Reading faces, tracking tone, managing impressions, filtering noise. That constant processing drains energy faster than people realize. Home, in contrast, removes unpredictability. It removes performance. It removes scanning. The body exhales because it no longer has to stay alert. Staying home, for many, is not social avoidance. It is nervous system regulation. There's also a deeper energetic layer most people overlook. Introversion isn't shyness, it's energy mechanics. Some people gain energy in social environments, others lose it. If you're someone who notices small details, subtle emotional shifts, tension in voices, unsaid expectations, your brain is constantly absorbing information. By the time you return home, your internal battery isn't low because you failed socially. It's low because you processed deeply. Solitude becomes recovery. Stillness becomes fuel. Staying home becomes restoration, not retreat. For some, home represents something even more powerful: control. If you grew up in chaos, walked on eggshells, or lived in environments where you had to constantly adapt to survive, autonomy becomes sacred. Home is the first place where nothing is forced. You choose the lighting, the sound, the energy, the people allowed inside. It becomes the first territory where your nervous system doesn't have to negotiate safety. And when safety has been rare in your past, that matters more than social approval ever could. But here's where emotional intelligence goes deeper. Protection can heal you, but it can also quietly shrink you. There is a difference between nourishing solitude and fear-based hiding. The real question isn't, why do I like staying home? The real question is, am I restoring myself here, or am I avoiding growth? Growth doesn't require constant exposure, but it does require intentional stretch. You can protect your peace and still expand your world. You can stay home and still build a bold life. The key is honesty about your season. Many of the most creative, self-aware and driven people are home-oriented. Not because they lack ambition, but because they understand rhythm. When you stop chasing external noise, you create space for internal clarity. When you aren't trying to keep up with everyone else's pace, you begin designing your own. That isn't antisocial, that's maturity. You're not missing out, you're tuning in. You're not withdrawing from life,
you're curating it.
The world may reward loud visibility, but deep thinkers know something different. Stability beats stimulation. Rhythm beats chaos. And safety precedes growth. So instead of forcing yourself to go out more just to prove something, ask a better question. What does my nervous system actually need right now? If the answer is rest, honor it. If the answer is growth, pursue it intentionally. Either way, make the choice conscious, not reactive. Most people live in reaction to the world. The ones who build real lives learn how to regulate before they participate. If this shifted how you see yourself, stay around.